Well, today's the last day. Just gotta wake up. So what does this mean? This is the end of a season, close of a time for me. What have I learned from all of this? Well, tremendous amount. First, I want to be so thankful for my family for supporting me through this. And I'm so very, very proud of my wife, Sonia, who the growth in this spiritually in her for the past 6 years, has just been 7 years nearly, has been amazing. But for me, if it hadn't been for her, I don't know, she's helped me out so much with just being the example. And I'm very thankful for that. And my kids, to see their growth and to see truth finding them is just blowing me away as well. This has been an amazing journey for me. Learned a lot. Learned a lot about myself. Learned a lot about people, which I thought I knew, but didn't know as much as I thought I did. The main thing that I think that's helped me so much and that I've seen so much is that everyone needs to understand that the Christ spark, as we call it, is within everyone on this planet. Christ said that you can only get to the Father through Him. And it's been so misconstrued over the years that it turned into a religion and that it turned into a way of keeping people separated from everyone else. And there's plenty of other religions, obviously. There's Islam and there's Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism and all these other things. But if you grasp this concept that when Jesus Christ said it's finished, when that took place, before He went back, He planted His spark, His consciousness, his all in all in every single living human being, then, now, and to come, so that you would have an opportunity to make your way back home. So does that mean you have to go to a church that says Christian on it? No. Does it mean you have to go to a synagogue? No. But a mosque? Nope. That has actually nothing to do with Him. Those are man-made constructs that were made to keep you bound to this world. And I know this is it's going to be a hard thing for people to swallow, and you're going to think I'm nuts. But it's a truth. See, with the Christ within you, everything that you need is there. Because Jesus said that I'll send someone that you would have to be taught by no man. Comforter. Understand this is that when a seed is planted within you, and I don't care what religion you're in, when a seed of love, seed of mercy, a seed of forgiveness, a seed of kindness, when these things start to grow inside of you and you start to look within and look at yourself and look at the things that are issues, then yes, the 10 Commandments are valid. Sermon on the Mount is valid. Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself. When you start to learn how to love yourself, when you start to learn to see the things in you that are not right, when you start to realize that the people around you are mirrors back to you. So when you find fault in them, you're finding fault in yourself because there's something in you that needs to be fixed. There's something in you that needs to be healed. And when you grasp a hold of that, then this is when you're going to start to see change. Then this is when the Father's going to start to come into view and to come into light. So, yeah, putting a bunch of money in a container or whatever else is not going to get you closer to getting home. Doing anything that is considered a tradition or a cultural thing is not going to get you closer to home. Spinning things, standing in front of a statue, bowing, rubbing beads, crossing yourself, all these things, none of those things are going to get you anywhere. They're man constructs. They're man's concept of what it takes to find God. And when you really start to dig deep into the New Testament, you really start to dig deep into the scriptures of what Jesus actually said, and just concentrate on those things, you'll start to see that everything is about love. Everything. The Father is love. The Father is everywhere. He's omnipotent. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. Do you get that? He's in you. He's in every single cell in your body. He's in the plants that you see. He's in the ground that you walk on. Why? Because all of who that he is everywhere. Everywhere. And the ant that walks past you. The part of him that is him is in everything. Otherwise, nothing would exist. Nothing. So if your excuses are that Christians do this or Muslims do that, they act this way, there's no way there's a God, how can all these things happen? Why would a loving God let these things happen? I don't want to believe in him. Well, understand this. It's all part of your journey. It's the fight against, your ego is fighting against the truth of who Christ is, who the creator of all is. And also one other just small caveat thought. Stop paying attention to the world. There's a lot that's about to happen that if you get so wrapped up in it, you'll miss the truth. The earth is angry. You're seeing it every day. Natural disasters, and they can blame it on global warming, but that has nothing to do with it. The earth is done and it's tired, and it's going through a change. There's been enough hate, enough neglect of man's spiritual quest that he's been on and supposed to have been on, that the earth is moving on because it's got a journey it has to take. So if you're wrapped up in the political wherewithals, if you're wrapped up in political parties, if you're wrapped up in what's going to happen, in fear of diseases, in fear of governments taking over, in fear of one world systems and one world currencies and Antichrist and all that stuff that's out there right now, it's all going to happen. And it is what it is. But there's still all a distraction to keep you from finding the truth of who you are in the Father. That's more important than anything that you could ever concentrate on. So start to look for him. Start to heal. Ask the Father, what's broken me? Show me you. Help me see you. Help me understand who this Christ is. Help me understand who you are. Help me understand who I am. And show me through any source, any way, any form. I don't care. I just want to know the truth. And then sit back and wait, because it's going to come in all different directions. It may come in the Bible. It may come in books outside the Bible. It may come in other religious dogmas or doctrines. Not doctrines, I'm sorry, literature. It may come in oddball teachings. It may come in all kinds of different ways, because, see, the truth can never, ever be completely hidden. And as much as it's tried to be hidden from the beginning of time so that you don't come to know who you are, the Father's always going to find a way to tell you the truth. As Jesus said, you just have to have ears to hear and eyes to see. And once you have that, then you can knock and the doors will be opened. You can seek and you will find. But you gotta trust him. Trust no man. Trust him. Learn to hear. Learn to find. Understand that this world that you live in is so much more complicated and bigger than you can possibly ever imagine. It's more than you've ever been told. And it's more fantastic than you can ever imagine. But it's also so deceptive. And there's so much evil. So much darkness. But without that darkness, you would not be able to recognize the brilliance of the light that is literally within you. So, anyway, blessings. So, let me explain why ego is so detrimental. Okay? So, a desperate situation happens in your life, and you beg God to help you. And you cry out in desperation, and then the prayer is answered. So now you think that only time he's going to listen is if things are bad, or if you're just begging, and if you're screaming out and you're hollering, or whatever it is you think you need to do, that this is going to garner his attention. Well, it doesn't really work that way. This is where ego is so deceptive. The reason that your prayers are not heard, or our prayers are not heard, they don't get heard anymore just because you cry and you beg and you get on your knees and you scream and cry at the floor. That's not why you get heard. The reason you get heard is because at that moment you have released your ego and it's out of the way. Now, which the Father's been waiting on, he can now deal with whatever the situation is. So that means that he's willing to deal with that situation regardless of your situation. But if your ego is in the way, it stops you from having anything ever happen because you're still trying to solve it. You're still trying to deal with it, and you're still trying to solve the problem. He's a God of love and of mercy and kindness. He doesn't take delight in seeing his children screaming and hollering out and begging and begging and begging. That's not a loving Father. God of this world would like you to do that, because then that makes him feel elevated. It makes him feel godly. But the Creator of all doesn't need that. He has no ego. We have ego. He doesn't. So anyway, I guess lessons learned. The Creator of all was not who I thought he was. He wasn't, and he isn't. He is, and he's all. He says, I am that I am. And there's no truer statement than that. And the most wonderful thing is that we're part of that I am. Because every cell in my body is part of him. It's just getting myself out of the way to finally see it. Throwing everything out. Every preconceived notion. Every belief system. Religious or non-religious. They weigh you down. They're like a weight around your neck. They pulled you down to the bottom of the depths, and you can't get up from it. And sadly, some people have the weights around their neck and think that they're free because the system's told you that you're free. That if you do this right, if you pray this many times, if you face this direction, if you put the money in the offering plate, if you talk a certain way, if you don't cuss, they're all exterior trappings to keep you bound and not in love. So anyway, I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm thankful for every single one of you out there, my friends, my family, strangers, anybody that sees this. And if you see it and you think I'm nuts, I love you. If you see it and you think it's, hey, this may be something, I love you. It doesn't matter. Because, see, we're all part of Him. I'm no different than you. You're no different than me. I have my uniqueness because of the spirit that is within me. That is my spirit, not your spirit. I'm not part of anyone else. No one's part of me. Got rid of all that. But I tell you what, I delight. I delight in the truth of who my Father is. Because now I see and recognize Him within me. So therefore I can recognize Him. That's awesome. It says the truth will set you free. Do you know what the truth is? It's Him. All of Him. That's the truth. I love you guys. And I'll be home soon. Like, I gotta go to sleep in probably here about 4 hours. Wake up and start my journey. But I love you guys. And one other thing, and if your job is to show people the truth through telling them what's going on in the world, then do that to the best of your ability. If your season right now is to enlighten people on who the Father is, then do that with the best of your ability. If your season right now is to learn how to love your family, then do that with the best of your ability. If your season right now is to suffer and to be ridiculed, then learn from what that is. Find in you what's causing that trigger within you to take offense. Because we can only be abused or ridiculed if we allow it to happen to us, because there's something in us that allows that to affect us that way. Everything's a learning opportunity, and everything's a growth opportunity to bring you closer to Him. Okay. I'm done. Peace.